getting ready to go live, people. Are we ready for television? Woo! Good evening and welcome to the regularly scheduled meeting of the Parks, Art, and Community Services Commission for July 25th, 2019. I will now call the meeting to order and this gorgeous July evening. And if we would all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, Commissioner DeSico will lead us in the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Item 3, roll call. Chair McNabb.
Here.
Commissioner Ashendorf.
Present.
Commissioner DeSico.
Present.
Commissioner Erickson.
Present.
Commissioner Frager. Present. Commissioner Fay. Present. Commissioner Rutherford. Present. The record will reflect that all commissioners are present. Item 4, the approval of the minutes of the June 27th, 2019 meeting of the PACS Commission.
Does anyone have any modifications or additions that they would like to make for the minutes? Seeing none, I will move to approve the minutes for the June 27th meeting. Do I have a second?
Second.
Commissioner Rutherford seconds. I will call for the question. Oh, yes. Make the motion. Motion made, friends. Okay. And now we call for the question. So high tech. Has everyone voted?
Yes.
And do I need to press closed motion or something? Okay.
The motion carries 6-0 with Commissioner Erickson abstaining.
Okay.
Item 5, public comments.
To ensure fair and equal treatment of all those who appear before the Parks, Arts, and Community Services Commission and to expedite city business, speakers will be limited to 3 minutes during public comments. The 3 minutes per speaker time limit may be extended for good cause by the chairperson or by a majority vote of the commission. Please come to the dais, state your name, and we will at this time open public comments. Is there anyone that has anything to share with us this evening? Ooh, crickets. Okay, I will close public comments.
Item 6, commissioner comments.
Great. I think this evening we'll go right to left. If Commissioner Ashendorf would like to begin, thank you.
Thank you very much, Chair McNabb. First, I'd like to inform everyone that I represented the commission today at the Smart Camp presentation. There were over 500 participants this summer. It was a real success. And today in particular, I watched the concert, The String. It was comprised of 15 boys, no girls in that class this time. And then their inaugural Smart Camp Choir concert, which was made up of 10 students, boys and girls. It was a wonderful, wonderful event. I'd also like to ask you to save the date. We have something really exciting coming to our town on Saturday, August 31st. United to End Homelessness through United Way will be unveiling a brand new mural at the First United Methodist Church in Costa Mesa from 9 until 10 a.m. I will not let you know what the design is yet, but mark your calendars for that. I'd also like to share that there were 2 events at the Senior Center. One, we had our 2nd annual intergenerational spelling bee, And once again, the seniors beat the youngsters, so really proud to represent there. And finally, at the end of the month, last month, we had the annual Luau, and thanks to the fire department and the police department who came, there were over 95 of us for lunch, and we were served by officers in blue. So that concludes my comments.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Rutherford.
Thank you, Chair McNabb. Thank you, everybody, for coming tonight. I just wanted to make a few brief comments, bouncing off what Commissioner Ashendorf said. I had the opportunity to volunteer at the opening day of the Orange County Fair. There were thousands of people there. It was an awesome experience. I think, like some other folks up here, I live walking distance from the fair, so it's a great opportunity to ditch the car, walk over to the fair, and enjoy the time there. I also wanted to thank Assemblywoman Kati Pichu-Norris for securing a huge amount of funding in the state budget to go to Costa Mesa and other Orange County municipalities in our district, especially for that $1 million for Lions Park. I think that's going to be a huge benefit to the city. I'm very excited about that. And I wanted to thank Director Martin, the entire city staff for a wonderful July 3rd celebration. I think a lot of us were there. We had a blast. It was a great time. And I'll be doing the dunk tank next year. Thank you.
Great, then you can relieve me from doing it because I think a one and done on the dunk tank. Commissioner DeSigo.
Yeah, again, like it's been stated, it's a great summer night, so get out there and enjoy the parks. They just had the concert in the park at Fairview Park, which was such an enjoyable experience for a lot of people, and I encourage you guys to go to those. The Chargers just opened up camp. That's another great opportunity to go out and enjoy, and the OC Fair. So there's a lot to get out and do in addition to all the programs that our city puts on for the youth. It's really amazing the amount of activities that are out there. So just get out there, get out of the house, and do something.
Thank you. I would also like to welcome the city manager, our new city manager, Lorianne Farrell Harrison. She's an amazing addition to our city staff. We are so thrilled that she is our 8th city manager in history, so it's a pretty amazing opportunity to have the first woman run our city. And so we had a reception for her at the Lions Park event lawn earlier in the week, and that was really wonderful to see her and get to greet her on behalf of the commission. And I would just like to thank Commissioner Ashendorf for representing at the Smart Camp this morning. That is, I'm so pleased to hear that you got to join them today. Also, would just mention that there is one more concerts at the park left next week, and it is so much fun. I think there were over 3,000 people there. It was incredible, and the best part about those, I think, is seeing so many families participating together, from the very small children that are teeny tots and dancing with their moms and dads to my 81-year-old mother who was dancing with me, and we had, those moments are really special. So I really want to thank the Costa Mesa Foundation for putting on, and all the sponsors that sponsor those amazing concerts. And also like to welcome the Chargers back to Costa Mesa. They're doing their fun training camp, and it's really neat to get to see the professional athletes and have them use our Jack Hammett Stadium and contribute so nicely to the community. So that's all I have for this month, and thank you. Commissioner Erickson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. A few things. Last month, I had the pleasure of participating in disc golf just right next to the library. It was held on the first Thursday of the month, and I believe it's going to be held the first Monday of the month, but will be held the first Monday of next month, which happens to be the 5th. It was a lot of fun. The way we're using that grass space is really innovative. It brought a lot of people out. It's great to have the library in the background. People can see what's going on from the library and come and explore and try something new. And there were quite a few new folks out there just throwing a Frisbee around. Great experience. Just keep your eyes peeled for other things that are happening in that grassy space there. Had the pleasure of going for a bicycle ride with one of our council members last week. It's becoming a recurring bike ride, the third Sunday of every month. It's happened 2 Sundays in a row now, and we focus on parks, connecting people and bicycles to parks in the city. So the next one is the 18th of August, and the ride is not finalized yet, but will probably encompass another 3 to 5 parks, over 6 to 7 miles of flat, easy riding. So I welcome everybody on behalf of the council member. It was a lot of fun. Just a few comments on dogs in the park. I love visiting our parks. Unfortunately, I was out in a park recently on a bicycle and waved at a couple of people walking by, and their dog jumped out of the bushes as I rode by and almost caused a collision. And it's either I was going to hit the dog or the dog was going to bite me or both. And it was scary, and I talked to the dog owner about it. But it's a serious issue. It's an issue for safety of humans as they enjoy parks. I might have been someone pushing an infant in a stroller. It's an issue for the ecology of the parks. Dogs off leashes tend to cause trouble with animals that belong in the parks off leashes. And then finally, it's just a rule. You need to have your dog on a leash in the park. It's a societal thing. You wouldn't park in a red zone. You wouldn't run a red light. So keep your dog on a leash. That's all I have.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Fay. Welcome back.
Thank you. It's great to be here. Great to see everyone. First, I would love to know, how can we find out about those third Sunday bikes in the park, Commissioner Erickson?
I found it on the Facebook. It seems to be growing in popularity, becoming something that Councilmember Reynolds has championed. So I guess keep your eyes peeled.
Great. Okay, so I guess it's check the Facebook for things like that. Very exciting. It's a pleasure to be here. I want to echo Commissioner Rutherford's point on walking to the fair. I live walking distance to the fair, and it is just such an exciting time to be in Costa Mesa. I think when the fair starts, sure, you got to take a detour around the 55, guys. But for those couple of weeks of fun and excitement, I just think it's so great that people come from all around to visit our great city, to have a fun time at the fair. And I do encourage you to walk and not park and get some of those steps in. Also had a great time walking to the July 3rd celebration, and thank you to Mayor Pro Tem Stevens, who I know did a ton of work to get all of the sponsors involved in that. And I brought a whole group of friends. I was so impressed. It's the first one I went to. I think it's only the second year we've done it. But if you didn't make it this year, make sure you make it next year, because it was a professional production, amazing bands, just like you can see next Tuesday night at Concerts in the Park. So really, thank you to everyone who spent a lot of time on that. And I think that's all for today.
Thank you. And Commissioner Frager.
Yes. Thank you, Chair McNabb. I wanted to echo all of the above about July 3rd. I also walked. It was wonderful. And it was a great way to just celebrate with friends and family prior to the big day the next day. And also walked over for Costa Mesa Day when we did the flag raising at the fair as well. And so just good to be a part of that as I've began my term with this commission. And I wanted to report that we had 19 students from the Newport Mesa Unified School District participate with Pacific Symphonies Arts Express program. This is an arts immersion program for middle school students, and it's a multidisciplinary program where kids get to live together on the campus of Concordia University in Irvine, and all the while exploring themselves creatively and exploring different art forms and trying new things and taking creative risks. And so that was a pleasure to host a variety of students from Newport Mesa and then 150 students from the county. And this coming Sunday evening, we've got a free concert at the Renee and Henry Segerstrom Concert Hall. It's light classics and American tunes to celebrate Carl St. Clair's 30th anniversary with Pacific Symphony, and with a community celebration prior to out on the Ardros Plaza. So I encourage all to attend. Should be a wonderful evening. And I'm excited to attend the final Concerts in the Park next Tuesday. I haven't been able to go, so I'm excited to finish off the summer with that. Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much. We will move on.
Item 7, consent calendar.
All matters on the listed under the consent calendar are considered to be routine and will be enacted in one motion in the form listed below. There will be no separate discussion of these items prior to the commission votes on the motion unless members of the commission, staff, or the public request specific items to be removed from the consent calendar. These items will be discussed and voted upon immediately following the commission action on the remainder of the calendar. Upon invitation by the chairperson, members of the public who wish to discuss consent calendar items should come forward to the microphone, state your name and the city in which you reside and the item number. And this evening, we do have 2 items on the consent calendar. And I am not sure if there's anyone, members of the public, that would like to address either of those items. If so, please come forward. If not, I will move to pass, make a motion to pass the consent calendar. Motion made.
I'd like to second that.
Any discussion? Okay, I will call for the question. Do I do it?
The motion carries 7-0.
Great, thank you.
Item 8, old business, no item. New business, item 9A, Parks, Arts, and Community Services Commission, election of a chair and vice chair, assignment of park district representatives, and liaison appointments.
Okay, so at this time, we are going to do a realignment. And so the first item on new business is to elect a chair and a vice chair for the term of approximately 1 year, beginning July 25th, 2019, according to the guidelines. So,
Yes, Madam Chair, City Clerk Brenda Green is here this evening, and she's going to help walk you through the process. But just for some historical knowledge, the city's municipal code section 1272 does require that a chairperson and vice chairperson be elected on an annual basis from amongst the commission's memberships. And the commission has not undergone this process since February 2018 due to the many changes to the membership size and the membership scope. The chairperson will lead and direct the monthly commission meetings, and the vice chairperson will do so in the absence of the chairperson. So, Ms. Green, if you'd like to move us forward, that'd be great.
Thank you. Madam Chair, before we begin on this for items 1 through 4, it would be appropriate to ask the public if anybody would like to speak on any of those
okay,
items.
thank you very much. At this time, I will open public comment to discuss number 9 new business items of the reconfiguration of the Parks, Arts, and Community Services Commission. Would anyone like to make any comments or suggestions on who is the new Grand Poobah? Oh, Brenda's gone. Oh, okay. I will close public comments at this time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Excuse me, real quick, Madam Chair. I want to let the commission know that we will take the votes on the chair and the vice chair, and we will not reorganize until after we do the remainder of the votes for the additional 3 items. At that point, we will take a recess to reorganize, and then we'll continue the meeting from there.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I will now open nominations for chair. And so if you...
I would like to make a motion to nominate Jim Erickson as chair.
Thank you. And do we have a second?
I would like to second.
Okay.
Are there any other nominations? Oh,
Yeah.
excuse me. Oh, is that you? Excuse me.
Okay.
Excuse me.
Are there any other nominations for chair? Okay, seeing no further nominations, I will now close nominations for chair. And we'll call for the question.
Call for the question, okay.
The motion carries 7-0. Thank you.
Congratulations, Ms. Commissioner Erickson. That's great news.
Okay, thank you. And now I will now open nominations for vice chair.
Am I able to nominate myself?
Okay. Do we have a second? Okay. Do we have any other nominations for vice chair?
I'd like to nominate Liz McNabb for vice chair.
Okay. Do we have a second for that?
I'll second.
All right, do we have any other nominations for vice chair? Okay, seeing none, I will now close nominations for vice chair, and we'll call for the question.
Can they make their motions?
Oh, I'm sorry. Could you make your motion?
Yes, I'd like to move that.
Hit the motion
Oh, I'm so sorry.
button,
Yeah, got to push the button.
and then hit the second button.
You have to-
Oh,
Okay, now we call for the question.
Technology is always fun, right?
All right, the motion carries 6-1 with Commissioner DeSico voting no. And thank you. We will now turn it over to,
me.
okay.
All right, congratulations, new Chair Erickson and Commissioner McNabb. Thank you to all the members of the commission. Next, we will ask the commission to confirm the City Council's assignment of arts and culture-related items to Commissioner Frager and senior center-related items to Commissioner Ashendorf.
Congratulations.
We should also, City Clerk, do we need to open this up to public comment or no? No, we are. Okay.
I would like to make the motion to confirm Commissioner Ashendorf to the senior center appointment and Commissioner Frager to the arts and culture related.
I'll second.
I'll second as well.
Okay.
Many seconds.
And call for the question at this time. Thank you.
The motion carries 7-0.
Okay, next up is the assignment of park districts. The City Council previously developed a list of goals for the Commission to accomplish. Amongst those goals was the establishment of Commissioner-assigned park districts. The overarching purpose of this goal was to assign a member of the Commission to a park district to oversee it in conjunction with staff. The Commission would be an additional point of contact along with staff and would have increased responsibility for communication regarding community suggestions and perceptive concerns for the respective assigned parks. Throughout the process, prior commission members and staff worked to establish and finalize the current 5 park districts and associated signage. As a result of these actions, the following duties were also established. Commissioners are responsible for correspondence with staff regarding incoming emails about assigned parks, following up and requesting updates about issues and projects within assigned parks, presenting report annually on assigned parks, and working with staff to recommend future capital improvement projects in relation to their assigned parks. Staff are responsible for working to actively organize emails from residents to the commissioner whom is assigned to the specific park district. Staff also follow up with residents regarding received concerns. The commission began implementing this program with staff beginning in 2015. Park districts were assigned to the previous commission, and now that the current commission is at full membership, staff is requesting that district representatives be assigned for at least the next year. There is no established timeframe for district assignments, as it is up to the commission if they would like to keep or modify park district assignments in a year, or to include a longer length of time in any vote that is taken this evening. There have been several schools of thought with the assignment of park districts. One has included members of the commission being assigned to the district in which they personally reside because they already know that specific park system. The other process has been that the assignments do not match where a commissioner resides, so as to make more than one commissioner knowledgeable and an ally for that specific park system. Both of these systems have worked, and with that being said, staff is seeking direction and a recommendation from the commission regarding the assignment of park district representatives for the 5 park districts. Happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Martin. So at this time, once again, do I need to open this up to public comment?
Madam Chair, no, you asked for public comments for all 4
Oh,
items.
all 4 items. Okay, thank you. So I am going to initiate a discussion on particular districts for the remaining commissioners. If anyone would like to express their interest for Park District 1, I would suggest voicing your interest at this time.
I have interest in Park District 1. In addition to parks, it also has a sports complex, of which that's an area of interest of mine with athletics and turf and field conditions. So I'd like to be the representative in that district.
Marvelous. And I think I will mention at this time that I am interested in Parks District 4, as I have been Park District 2 Commissioner for about 2.5 years. So that District 4 interests me. So I will move up to Park District 2 and ask if there's anyone that has interest in Park District 2. And if no one in particular does, then we can move on to Park District 3.
Madam Chair, if I may,
Sure.
I express interest in Park District 2.
Okay. And Park District 3 is an East Side District segment.
Madam Chair, I am interested in District 3.
Okay, marvelous. And Commissioner Rutherford, I hope that, are you interested in Park District 5?
Yeah, it would be perfect.
Okay.
West Side, Costa Mesa. I love it.
Wonderful, marvelous. Well then, I move that those appointments be made. Is that correct, to have Park District 1 recommended?
Yes, Madam Chair, that can be done in one motion with the districts that you just described through that process.
Okay, fantastic. So now we can just move on to number 4. Is that right?
Well, I would like you to do a motion, a second, and a call for the question.
Okay, yes. Well,
Madam Chair,
yes.
if I may, this is a bit of a philosophical comment, but I really don't mind which district I'm in. I'm really happy to check out Parks District 2, but I do happen to know it's near Commissioner Rutherford's home as well, some of the parks, so I just want to defer to him or anyone else on the commission if they so choose and prefer District 2.
And Madam Chair, I would say the same to myself. If anyone is very passionate and they still want to take an area, then I'm happy to move around as well to any park district.
Thank you. That's so nice, for everybody to be so flexible. Would anyone like to request a different location?
I appreciate the suggestion, Commissioner Erickson, but I do think West Side Costa Mesa is a little park poor compared to the rest of the city, so I would look forward to the opportunity to get to know those parks and provide activism there.
And I'd be happy to show you around.
Marvelous, then I think that we're good. Would someone like to make a motion to that effect?
Sure, I can make a motion. Let's see.
Oh, it looks like Mr. Commissioner DeSico
oh,
did
never mind.
so.
Sorry, Sarah.
That's
I'd
okay.
like to make a
Great.
motion to assign to those parks.
Great. And Commissioner Ashendorf has seconded, so I believe we can call for the question.
Oh, sorry.
Okay, revote.
Was voted, yeah.
Did we all revote? We needed a little extra help.
The motion carries 7-0.
And finally, we come to the appointments of liaisons to the Newport Mesa Unified School District, the Fairview Park Steering Committee, and to the Costa Mesa Skate Park. On an annual basis, the Commission regularly appoints one member and one alternate member to serve as a liaison to these three groups and initiatives. This liaison may attend sporadically scheduled meetings that routinely include city officials and staff, committee members, and on occasion school district officials and staff. Meeting types may also include public meetings, forums, workshops, etc. The liaison to these groups then may bring back any pertinent information to be presented during a regular meeting of the Commission. The Commission is asked to appoint one regular member and one alternate member for each group so that there can be a representative if an absence is necessary by the primary liaison. Thank you.
Thank you. And once again, we will open discussion about, we'll go in order. as listed, the Newport Mesa Unified School District. If are there members of the commission that wish to express interest on serving as the regular member of that commission?
Madam Chair, I would like to serve on the Newport Mesa Unified School District Liaison.
Are there any others that would also express the same interest?
I'd like interest to be an alternate.
Okay. Any other interest in the alternate position? Then let's move on to the Fairview Park Steering Committee. Is there a member that is interested in being the regular member of that committee? Or an alternate member of that committee?
Madam Chair, I would take either the main liaison or the alternate. Yeah.
Is anybody else interested in participating on the Fairview Park Steering Committee?
I could be an alternate on that one as well.
Oh, thank you, Commissioner Justico. Okay, and then moving on to the Costa Mesa Skate Park, is there anyone that would like to be the regular member?
Madam Chair, I would love to be the regular member of the skate park.
Okay. And anyone else that would like to be the alternate member?
I'd be very interested in being the alternate member, Madam Chair.
Marvelous. Well, that was easier than I thought. Good job, team. And yes, Mr. Martin.
We'd like to make a motion and a second, Madam Chair.
Yes, right. So,
I'd like to make the motion to accept the liaison positions and the alternates as stated.
Second.
great. And we will call for the question, please.
The motion carries 7-0.
Great, and at this time, we are going to take a pause in our meeting so that we can rearrange the seats. But I would like at this time to say it's been a real honor to serve as your chair for the last year and a half, and it's really also definitely want to thank our city staff for doing such an amazing job and making this look like we know what we're doing. And it's been so much fun to be able to participate in our city governance in this way. So thank you to everyone who participates. It's wonderful to be with our new full commission, and I wish the new chair, Mr. Commissioner Chair Erickson, as much fun as I had. So at this time, we will take a brief recess.
Madam Chair, may I request that we have a photo with you as the chair for the last time in our break?
Yeah, I think that's a great idea.
Okay,
Let's
great.
do that while we figure everything out.
Thanks.
Thank you. So cute.
That's mine.
Click on the mic and the mic turns on.
All righty, folks. I'd like to call the meeting back to order. Really appreciate being considered for the position, and I apologize in advance to the staff if I screw up. And with that, I'd like to move on to new business item B.
New business, item 9B, draft cooperative agreement between the County of Orange and the City of Costa Mesa for funding, design, construction, and maintenance of the Santa Ana Avenue and University Drive drainage and pavement improvements, resulting in a new multi-benefit park space.
All right, thank you, Chair Erickson and members of the Commission. This item before you is related to a cooperative agreement between the City and the County of Orange that involves a vacant parcel of land located at the intersection of University Drive and Santa Ana Avenue to be utilized as a new pocket park. The catalyst for this agreement came about in August 2018 when the Orange County District 2 Supervisor's Office received a collection of signatures from local residents to construct a pocket park on an unincorporated county parcel in Eastside Costa Mesa. The second district shared the pocket park concept and signature list with the Orange County Public Works Department in an effort to develop a project that would fulfill the request of the community. Orange County Public Works was successful at being able to secure funding for the project, which included pavement and drainage improvements, stormwater quality and ADA ramp improvements at the intersection, as well as site upgrades that include the addition of park amenities, resulting in a multi-benefit neighborhood pocket park to be utilized by the City of Costa Mesa. In late 2018, with a project concept and funding in place, city staff began increased engagement with the County of Orange. Engagement and collaboration has continued to increase since early 2019, which has resulted in arriving at where we are today. These discussions have resulted in the proposal for Orange County Public Works and Orange County Parks to design, construct, and fund all improvements to the street and park parcel on both county and city property. Once all improvements have been completed by the county, it is proposed that the city will become responsible for the ongoing maintenance and operational management of the pocket park. The street improvements on county property will be maintained by county staff, and the street improvements on city property will be maintained by city staff. To be able to access the park property, once construction is completed, assuming that the agreement is approved, the county and city will consider an easement for the city's use of the property as a park space. The agreement is structured for the long terms, since this will be an asset to the community. The agreement has an initial term of 50 years and one additional renewal period. If in the future the county and city mutually agree that the city should become the property owner, then an item will be brought to the City Council and Board of Supervisors for consideration of approval. To garner stakeholder input on this project, the county held 2 community meetings to solicit input and feedback regarding the park design and construction. These meetings were held in January and May of this year. With this input and with the assistance and feedback from staff, Orange County Public Works has worked to fine-tune the design of the parcel, as well as provide input on the draft cooperative use agreement. The city will be given the authority to name the park as well as add it to the Park 3 district inventory. This type of joint agency project and the proposed cooperative agreement is spoken about favorably in the draft Parks, Recreation, and Open Space Master Plan, which recommends an increase in park acreage in the city, which can be accomplished through several avenues, including the acquisition of new property, the repurposing of existing city property, or through cooperative use with other agencies, which is where this project falls. The next steps and potential timeline in this process are for the Parks, Arts, and Community Services Commission to review and recommend approval of the use agreement to the City Council, followed by staff presenting the use agreement to the City Council, potentially in September, possible advertisement for construction in November of 2019 by the county, and potential construction to begin in January of 2020. Tonight we also have Ms. Melissa Passa, Orange County Public Works Civil Engineer Assistant with us. Ms. Passa has been on the project as a lead since its inception, and she will complement my verbal presentation with a visual presentation on the process and the project. After her presentation, we will both be available to answer any questions that the Commission may have.
Thank you, Chair Erickson, Vice Chair McNabb, and Commissioners for providing us the opportunity to present this project. So as Justin mentioned, my name is Melissa Passa, and I am the Orange County Public Works Project Manager for this project. And for this evening, I'm going to be sharing with you some background of the project as well as goals of the improvements, and then kind of how this design was evolved through community outreach, and finally present to you the final design of the park and finish it off with some next steps and provide an opportunity for questions. So first and foremost, our mission at Orange County Public Works is to deliver infrastructure projects that have the three primary focuses of flood control, roadway improvements, and bikeway improvements. And so this particular project is a part of our 7-year capital improvement program, otherwise known as our CIP, and that is funded by SB1 gas tax funds. It's comprised of 3 major elements. The first being intersection and pavement improvements along University Drive from Santa Ana Avenue to Willow Lane. The second being drainage improvements, and the third being a little bit of landscaping visual enhancement of this county-owned vacant lot, which essentially evolves into our pocket park, and I'll kind of touch on that in the next slides. So as many of you may be familiar with this area, it's a great location to be outdoors in Southern California, taking a stroll, walking your dog. However, during high rainfall events, it's a little bit of a different story, and that's primarily centered around the location of this catch basin on the eastern corner of the intersection. Due to its location, it's a non-standard intersection such that you can't have a ADA compliant curb ramp at this intersection, which also does not allow us to have a 4th crosswalk to complete this continuous path around the intersection. Furthermore, it also poses some drainage challenges in which all runoff impedes the existing curb ramp on that eastern corner, which impedes pedestrians from walking across that crosswalk and also pooling some runoff in this intersection area. And then last but not least, the vacant parcel is not necessarily appealing to the eye, and it's pretty underutilized. So our primary goals of our improvements are to, first and foremost, move the location of that existing catch basin to capture the runoff before it reaches the intersection, convey that water through the park parcel to be able to provide some additional water quality treatment and a water feature in the park. Next, we also have the space to construct a new ADA accessible curb ramp in this area, enhancing ADA accessibility, and also completing that 4th crosswalk. So this CIP project was programmed to utilize SB1 gas tax funds, as I previously mentioned, and that encompassed project management, design, and construction of the project. However, as Justin mentioned, our community members submitted a petition to build a pocket park in this location of last year, and we all agree that this is an amazing opportunity to provide this resource to the community. However, it did necessitate us to reach out for some additional funding sources, as SB1 gas tax has some restriction. So we reached out to our partnering agency, OC Parks, and they're going to help assist us to provide the community with these park amenities. Overall, all in, the project total cost is $1.9 million. So at this point in design, we're kind of asking the question, how do we build this pocket park? It's a pretty tight, small space, so how are we going to optimize this space to be able to be well utilized by our community members? And a way to do that is to make it a hyper-localized usage. What I mean by that is to allow for the use of immediately adjacent residents to walk, a couple blocks from their homes to enjoy this pocket park. And with that, we wanted to reach out to those immediate residences that would be using this park space and ask them, how can we build this park to be of use to you? What are you interested in? This is, your neighborhood. What do you want in this space? And we also wanted to recognize that since it is a small space, in order to optimize that, we needed to provide some guidelines of making sure that the use would be well established and utilized. And so our project team huddled up. We developed some design concepts that are of best use for this small space, and hosted our first community meeting in January. And that comprised of 4 concepts, the first being a tot lot, the second being a wellness park, the third being a dog park, and the 4th being a community garden. To make this community meeting a little more interactive, we presented display boards of all 4 schematic designs. This provided the community members an opportunity to sort of mix and match their votes to accomplish
what are they looking for in a use of a park space? Also, what do they want the look and the feel to be in the layout as well? Would they like something a little more modern design or something a little more natural aesthetic? So this was a really fun activity to watch, children of younger ages as well as just our other community members joining in on voting for what they would like in that park space. For community members that could not attend this first meeting, we did distribute an online survey to encompass their opinions as well. So for our second community meeting in May, we presented our final survey results. We had over 100 participants in that survey, and the majority vote was for this Tot Lot, and the second was for the Wellness Park. We did try to incorporate some of that openness and natural aesthetic of the Wellness Park design concept into our Tot Lot to provide sort of a happy medium of this final design concept. Another aspect that came of our survey results is the opportunity for the community members to provide some feedback in regards to concerns of building a pocket park. What sort of design constraints did they want us to consider in the design development of the park? And those really focused in 3 primary areas, 1 being safety and security of the park, 2 being maintenance and upkeep, and 3 being the increased vehicle traffic and pedestrian traffic in this area. I'd also like to take a note that I'd like you to try to think about these 3 primary constraints because this really helped evolve our overall design features that we are proposing in our final design of the park. And this next part of the presentation, I'm just going to kind of go through some before and after renderings of the park, the vacant lot before the project, and what it'll look like with our improvements constructed. So this first image is looking at that vacant lot parcel from Santa Ana Avenue. Just to point out some existing features, you can see the existing curb ramp there, the red curb in front, the catch basin kind of to the far right, and then the existing fence and overgrown vegetation. And with our improvements, we're, again, moving that location of the catch basin to before the intersection, as well as kind of speaking to our safety and security design constraint of making sure that you can easily see into the park from the roadway, maintaining a clear line of sight through the park, utilizing that slotted fence. We also wanted to maintain a natural aesthetic, keeping those color schemes kind of similar to the Back Bay, as well as providing a barrier between the play areas as well as the roadway. You can see here this is one of the access points into the park itself. This image is looking at the vacant parcel from University Drive. And this will be the primary entrance of the park. Again, just highlighting those key design features, making sure that it's easily visible into the park from the roadway. You can also see we're going to be installing a privacy fence in the back wall, a privacy wall for the nearby residents. And again, just providing this natural aesthetic openness and walkable access local community resource. Now kind of diving into the Tot Lot Park Amenities. This is a bird's eye view of the park space. You can see, as I touched on a little bit before, there's 2 primary access points to the park. The first being along Santa Ana Avenue, and the second being along University Drive. You can see that boundary fence around the outside that has that slotted to provide that clear line of sight. And then also, I'd like to take note of the location of the bioswale, the drainage basin around the outside of the park. This was specifically designed to provide that buffer area from the play areas away from the roadway to ensure that children don't wander into the street. We also have some other key features in here. You can see the natural aesthetic, the native plants, the native trees. We also installed rubberized play surface, but we wanted to keep it a lighter color because we know that this area is pretty hot, and those lighter colors help reflect the light, mitigate that heat island effect, and we're trying to steer away from darker colors that absorb that heat. In addition, we have all hard surfaces. We're installing some seat walls, table and seating. We also installed some inclusive play panels to kind of tie into our ADA accessible improvements along the sidewalk. So this also provides an opportunity for children with disabilities to enjoy this play space as well. And again, you can also see that privacy wall in the back area of the fence. It also provides some noise dampening for the adjacent residences. Some other key features within our final park design encompasses operation and maintenance considerations. And one of the ways that we can accomplish that is from early and frequent feedback from not only our county maintenance staff, but also the city maintenance staff as well through peer reviews throughout the design process. And what this really helped facilitate is for us to be able to install irrigation components, waste receptacles, kind of just rubberized surfaces that are compatible with our existing local parks in the area that our staff is familiar with and can maintain readily. We're also installing resilient materials and finishes that will last longer, will require less maintenance, encompassing like not installing wood and installing some steel just to provide that additional operation and maintenance considerations. And then 3, we're also going to be installing some park signage to help assist with the operations of the park, making sure that everyone's abiding by the city municipal code for this park space. Another great feature of this park is that it really showcases the California native plant palette. And our landscape architects helped us design this park to encompass a variety of different heights, colors, and textures in this park to really create a visually attractive landscaping plan. And this allows us to showcase that our California natives can be really beautiful. And it also comes with all the benefits of those sustainable plants in our area. So it's all low water using, drought tolerant, obviously aesthetically pleasing, and then also we're kind of mix matching where these plants are going to be installed. For example, the plants that are going to be planted in that drainage basin, bioswale area can actually uptake the pollutants from the road that are being carried into the park, providing some additional water quality treatment. So here you can just see those different colors and textures of the park space. And one thing that you may be thinking is that this is a very hot area. We do live in Southern California. Don't fret, we definitely are going to be installing 2 shade structures over those 2 primary play areas. We just really wanted to showcase those park amenities underneath first. So just going through what our next steps are to get through to construction. We've come through this whole collaborative process of community meetings, peer reviews to produce this collaborative community envisioned design. And we're at this point where upon the PAC's recommendation to approve our cooperative agreement, we are scheduled to attend the city council meeting for approval in September. We're also going to be seeking approval from our board to advertise for our construction bids, which will close with our board approval to award a construction contract. The construction of this project is estimated approximately 6 months, which would complete in June 2020. Once the construction is completed, it'll initiate our 90-day plant establishment period, and only after that 90-day establishment period, ensuring that all of the landscaping was installed per our specs, we'll transfer over operation and maintenance responsibilities to the city. So kind of just tying a bow on this park space, we really wanted to provide the city the opportunity to lead the efforts in naming the park. So I wanted to hand it over to Justin to just kind of touch on what some of those ideas are.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Erickson, members of the commission. As you can see in the image, there is a monument sign located at the corner of the proposed, corner of the proposed park design. It's very exciting that the city would be able to have the opportunity to name this park. There is a council policy that exists, which I believe one of the items in there calls for potential for a contest for naming rights. So we would work through the commission and through the Parks and Community Services Department to look to engage the public on creating a name for this great new space and present that to the City Council.
Thank you so much for the presentation. Appreciate it. At this time, I'd like to ask any fellow commissioners if they have any comments or questions to please speak now.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, oh, go ahead.
Chair Erickson, I believe Commissioner Frager will need to recuse herself from the discussion on this item as she does live adjacent to the property. So we will ask her to recuse herself and leave the room, and we'll come and get you as soon as the item is completed.
Okay, see you soon.
Thank you.
I just want to say what a great collaborative job the county's done with the city on this. I really appreciate the community outreaches to get community input on what they would want in this pocket park. I also really appreciate the ADA accessibility, as that's a problem for a variety of people, persons with disabilities, as well as kids on bicycles, trying to navigate through sidewalks and streets that don't have that accessibility. And then, of course, when it does rain, sometimes it does pour, and that makes some unsafe situations. So great job fixing a multitude of problems with one solution. I did have, and I also appreciated the community input. They wanted natural rocks to sit on and stuff, and you put that in there too. So you guys really did a great job listening to what the community wanted. So great job on that. I did have a question. I did see on the pictures there's red zones across all parts of that park. Is that the intended plan, to make all of that a red zone? And then if so, why was that intended, as it's not a red zone right now?
Thank you for that question. Yes, it is intended to paint all the curbs around the park red, and we do recognize that parking is a precious commodity in this area. I totally recognize that as a community member myself. So, however, one of the primary purposes of our design was to maintain safety and security of the park, and from our engagements with the community, this was of utmost importance. And with that considered, this red curb really ensures that the clear line of sight from the road is accomplished at all times during the day of play activities, as well as at nighttime at dusk, when the park is not supposed to be in use. This area is approximately 3 car lengths, so we do recognize that there are some additional traffic considerations that we might want to consider down the road. However, for the purposes of the park initially, we want to just maintain the safety and security of the children playing in this area.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner DeSico. Is there anyone else?
Yes, Chair Erickson.
Proceed.
Is that right?
I guess so.
Yeah, I just want to say thank you so much for the presentation. It was an excellent presentation, very clear. Great to see the community input as well. And great also to see the accessibility for people with disabilities that absolutely works for all of us, whether we have a broken leg one day or are pushing a stroller. Really appreciate that you're considering that in everything that we design. Also, I think this is a great example of what we can do in our little corners that we've got throughout the city that we don't necessarily have enough of, but that we need a lot more of. So really excited to have this on our table. I think it'll be a great asset for our community. Just a couple of questions. With I noticed the closest home, I think, is the one right besides on Santa Ana, I believe. Are they comfortable with this? I'm sure that they were involved in consultation. Have they been participating in some of the feedback into this as well?
Thank you, Chair Erickson and Commissioner Fay. Yes, we have outreach to the adjacent property owner, and he has not attended any of the community outreach meetings. However, he's been receiving all of our email distributions. We've also conversed with him in the field when we're out there kind of checking out the site. His primary concerns were around just making sure the rest of the community members were okay with maintaining the safety and security of the park. So that was another key aspect that we wanted to incorporate into our design. So he has been reached out to, and we've welcomed him throughout this entire process, and will continue to do so through construction.
Okay, great. And then this might be more of a maintenance question for us or operations, but have we considered whether this is going to be open in the evenings and also open to animals on leashes?
Yes, Commissioner Fay. The city's ordinance calls for parks being opened until dusk. This design does include security lighting, so that there is an additional security measure in the evening when the park is closed, and dogs on leash will be allowed in the park. The city will likely install a mutt mitt container somewhere in the park, as we do in most of our other parks.
Okay, excellent. Thank you for that. And then just I know you're probably pretty much there with the design side of things, but in some of the imagery, it looked as if the wall that is facing the nearest neighbor over there on Santa Ana didn't have a lot of greenery along that back wall, and then some of the imagery did have a lot of greenery. I'd just kindly like to request as much greenery on that back wall as we can get in the process. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Commissioner Fay. Is there anyone else? Yes.
Thank you, Chair. I know this is down the road, but since we're going to have to do work with the crosswalk and for that area, that intersection, I'm hoping that we might want to consider painting the crosswalks, as we've already done in one section of the city. It would add color and art to the community, so just for our consideration in the future. Thanks.
Thank you. Any comment from OC Parks on that? No? That's okay.
No, I would just like to say thank you for this opportunity to present this project. It's been an amazing experience working with the city and our community members as well. This project is a huge passion to the county. We don't get many opportunities to work on projects like this from Orange County Public Works. So just to keep in mind that the county is very interested in looking into any future opportunities for projects of similar nature.
Thank you. At this time, I'll just ask if there's any further questions or comments. Yes.
Yeah, I just want to thank you, Chair Erickson. I'm going to have to get used to not saying Chair McNabb. I just wanted to ask a question to confirm that the shade structures, because I noticed that there's some tables that are on this site as well. And I just want to make sure that the tables will be somewhat covered by the shade structures, because the tables will get really hot if they're sitting in the sun during the day, and then people will not want to use them.
Thank you for the question. Our landscape architects did look into the different times of day and how the shade changes during the day. Some key aspects that I wanted to point out is one of the primary seating areas on the left side of the park does have one of our larger trees, so that's another opportunity for shade in that area too. We did want to focus on shading our play spaces, but we'll look into that to make sure that shade is getting encompassed into those seating areas too.
Cool, appreciate that. And then I do want to second Commissioner Ashendorf's idea. I think painting the crosswalks in any sort of artistic way would just enhance the usability of the site, make people want to come to the site, make people feel like it's more creative. Not to say in any way, though, that this isn't already an incredible project that I'm very excited to support. I think we're all very excited about it, and I really encourage staff and the county, if you do more projects like this, you will find support up here among the commissioners. So thank you.
This time I'll ask once more if there's any other comments or questions from the commission.
One last question. So you said after the 90 days, it's the city's responsibility for maintenance of this site. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And then we have an estimated cost of that, right, for maintenance?
Yes, Commissioner DeSecco, staff has analyzed the square footage of the park and the plant material and came with an estimate of approximately $12,000 a year.
Okay. And then what would be the benefit of the city to the continuing the maintenance? It's still owned by Orange County at that point, or is it owned by the city of Costa Mesa at that point?
Commissioner DeSecco, I can answer that question. The county will own the land. The county is not requiring the city to buy the land to utilize the property, which we would not be able to do at this point for this particular parcel. We are not paying for any play structures. We're not paying for any site improvements. So that the $12,000 projection as an annual maintenance cost counteracts what we would have had to pay on the front end per se for all of those improvements that I just mentioned.
Okay, thank you. I look forward to voting for it.
All right. Well, at this time, I'll close commissioner comments, but ask if anyone in the public has any comments on this item, please come on up. Okay. We'll start now. There may be a button down at the bottom. Oh, I'm so sorry, sir. Let me get that on. There we are.
Hello, my name is Brian Wecklich. I live in Newport Beach. I came here for a different reason, but I see you have a beautiful park. I think you need to be aware of 10, 12, 15 years ago down Santa Ana Avenue, there was a person that drove into a daycare center. And as a result, they had metal fencing. They had horrendous damage to kids. As a result, they put up block wall around it, kind of pilaster columns, and then a 2 or 3 foot block wall in between the columns. They put something up to restrict vehicles from going in there. You have a tot lot, you're in the same situation, you need to consider that. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
My name's Lee Wentz, and I live on the south side of University, so very familiar with it. I've met with the county people a number of times, talked to them. I appreciate what they're doing here, and I fully support it.
Thank you, sir, for your comment. At this time, I'm going to close public comment and just ask one last time if there's any other comments or questions from the commissioners. Okay. Seeing none, let's ask for a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Okay, see a motion from Commissioner DeSico. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, second from Mr. Rutherford. Any other discussion? Seeing none, let's call for the question.
The motion carries 6-0, and the record will reflect that Commissioner Frager recused herself.
Thank you, and if someone would invite her back in. Thanks. Okay. Thank you.
Good job.
Okay. As Ms. Frager has rejoined us, I'd like to move on in the agenda to item number 10.
Item 10, Maintenance Manager's Report.
Good evening, Commissioners, and congratulations, Chair Erickson.
Thank you.
This will be the Maintenance Manager's Report for the months of June and July and the summer session. The first project that has just begun is the Mesa Verde Library Musical Playground. The Mesa Verde Musical Playground project is instruments that will be interactive with children, and the project is anticipated to take between 4 to 6 weeks. The project will include the removal of the existing landscape and the installation of 4 outdoor musical instruments. The instruments will be installed in concrete pads surrounded by decomposed granite. The irrigation system will be adjusted, and drought-tolerant landscaping will be added to both sides to anchor the musical equipment. Demolition began on July 15th. Here you see a photo of the guys removing some of the existing landscaping. And this is, excuse my pronunciation if I get it wrong, it's an imba-rimba. Iba-rimba. It is an instrument that delivers resonating sounds. This is the Yank Z. It creates a rich canvas of sounds over melodic instruments. The tuned drum set, the swirl, And I added these photos just for some of the commissioners that may not have been around during this project, but is now moving forward and is in its construction phase. Another project that's ongoing through June and July is the OC Fair and 4th of July preparations. Maintenance staff annually installs 183 temporary signs throughout the city for various purposes and to assist with the operations of the fair and police enforcement. As stated earlier in this meeting, the LA Chargers training camp had opened up today. It's a great event. City maintenance crews and community service employees work closely with the Chargers staff on field preparation and event planning. The training camp is an opportunity for fans to interact and experience an NFL practice with their favorite team, the Los Angeles Chargers. This is not just an opportunity to observe an NFL practice, it is also a wonderful interactive area with the NFL experience, and it's also a free event. New bike racks, phase 2. I know some of the commissioners have been looking forward to this, and this has actually begun. In the city's Bikeway and Walkability Committee recommended the installation of bicycle racks at several city facilities and parks, and the installation of 16 new bike racks was completed last year. Public Services, through a grant, recently procured 42 of the same custom-made single-sided bike racks. And these bike racks, we have begun installing the bike racks at several locations. Here are 2 of the most recent locations, and you can also see the trash receptacles in the back. I'll get to those in next. And the 5 locations that just received new bike racks are Geisler Park, Ketchum Libel, Smallwood Park, Wakeham Park, and Schiffer Park. And I would encourage you on your bicycle tours or anytime you're moving around visiting parks, if you see a location where you think a bike rack would fit or be useful, please email that to me or Justin, and we'll check it for its appropriateness. The recycled trash receptacles, as you saw in the previous photos, are going in. The city received a $20,000 in recycling grant to have the trash cans installed and remove regular trash cans, so we now have a dual bin recycling trash cans. The city purchased 20 sets. 8 sets have been installed, and 12 sets will be installed in the near future throughout this summer. Here is Geisler Park with its single trash can, and there's a picture of it now with its new dual recyclable bin. Pressure washing is an ongoing project that goes throughout the year. But during the summer months, when we lose rain, we ramp up efforts to keep the facilities clean and safe. Here is the new library, and you can see how important pressure washing is. This is on a Monday, and the next pressure is on a Tuesday. That's the before and after, and how much nicer it looks if you maintain it. And for the safety of pedestrians and to get that library open in a rapid way, we also dry the tiles. Del Mesa Park recently received a new slide. They removed the old deteriorating, unsafe, and hot metal roller slide and put in the new plastic double swirl slide. Wimbledon Park got a cladder bridge. They removed the damaged cladder bridge and repurposed the bridge from the Lions Park playground, which is, we try and reuse stuff as much as possible to keep repurpose items and keep it safe, because there were some issues at the existing Lions Park playground. Tewinkle and Bark Park got a new informational kiosk. City staff installed the new kiosk, and hopefully this will serve the park users well. And that concludes my report for June and July. Any questions?
Thank you, Mr. Lindeman. Commission, any questions?
I have a question. On those new recycle bins, I like that idea. That's great. Has it been evaluated putting pictures of what should belong in those recycle bins? As it could be paper, cans, glass. People may not know exactly what should be put into those bins. Has that been assessed?
It's the international recycling symbol, so we're hoping we could, especially since they're initially new, we could look into that, having temporary signs saying plastic, paper, or something like that.
So could people put paper in there if they had like napkins? Is that something that belongs in there?
I believe so. This is a new program we have just started, so we're really evaluating it for its purpose. It may eventually turn to all aluminum plastic. We'll see how it benefits us the best. The first initial thing is getting them out there, getting them installed, and getting people to start separating the trash.
Right. Okay. Yeah, that'd be great if they just gave them direction what to put in there. That's a great idea. I'm glad they're doing that. On the pressure washing, I had a question. Is there any sort of protective surface that they put on these tiles to decrease the frequency of need for pressure washing? Is there anything that they're able to put on there to do that? Because that seemed, the library wasn't open that long ago, and that's pretty dirty.
Thank you for that comment. Yes, I spoke with the project manager just at the meet and greet with this new city manager event, and the tiles have been sealed. But if we put too high of a gloss, it can increase the slip and fall potential. So it is a little rough. And that was directly after one of the very successful community services events. So we had quite a heavy usage at that park. We are also communicating with staff and our contractors on how to remove debris from the park in a better style. Looks like some of that is from people dragging things.
Gotcha. So if they had like a higher gloss that wasn't as slippery, that could be something we look into, protective.
That could be a possibility in the future. Right now, the facility is under warranty, and we don't want to move too far right into that. In the future, that could be examined.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments?
Chair Erickson?
Yes.
Just a comment. Thank you for the 183 signs that you put up for the fair. As a local community member that can walk to the fair, I'm really grateful that the city has instituted the new parking laws for the fairgoers to actually park in the fair parking lot, please, not in front of the houses. And I will say, as a community service message, the PD is ticketing. I've seen them out and around and actually really ticketing this year. So just keep in mind, you might forget that the fair is on and not notice that those signs are up. But there are a number of neighborhoods adjacent to the fairgrounds, Mesa Del Mar, College Park, I think a few others, where you can't park on in front of the normal neighborhoods during fair times. Don't want you to get a ticket.
Thank you, Commissioner. Anyone else?
Chair,
All right.
Chair Erickson?
Yes.
I would just ask Mr. Lindeman, when the musical instruments are completed, will there be some sort of little recognition ceremony that we can participate in? That sounds nice.
Commissioner McNabb, yes, staff is working with the Friends of the Library Foundation to plan some type of celebration, small celebration, where we might include children to be the first to utilize the equipment, potentially from our LEAP program down the street at the Blair Community Center, but we are working on something hopefully for early to mid-fall.
Thank you so much. That sounds wonderful.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for the presentation. At this time, I want to move forward and get to item number 11. Mr. Martin.
Item 11, Parks and Community Services Director's Report.
Thank you, Chair Erickson, members of the Commission. The city's summer session of recreation and community services activities and programs is now halfway complete, with more than 260 classes and dozens of additional programs and event offerings for participants of all ages. The Summer Rocks program, which is held daily at the Downtown Recreation Center, Blair Community Center, and Sonora Elementary, has more than 600 active participants registered, with 4 excursions planned for this free program for residents. All summer youth camp programs are in full swing, with Camp Costa Mesa continuing to take place daily at Estancia Park, Camp Mini Explorers taking place at the Blair Park and Community Center, and Aqua Camp taking place at the Downtown Aquatic Center. Most, if not all, of these camp weeks and sessions are full or very close to full, and we continue to utilize the wait list to fill open spaces when they become available. The Smart Camp program, which stands for Sports, Music, and Arts Camp, came to a close earlier today at both Ray Elementary and Costa Mesa Middle School. This partnership camp with the Newport Mesa Unified School District introduces participants to varying sports, musical, and artistic mediums so that when they are exposed and make their way to middle school and high school, these types of programs are part of their curriculum and they can see what they have an interest in. The camp had more than 500 registered participants, was free of charge, and ended with concerts by band participants as well as the choir. The summer teen camp, which operates out of Tewinkle Middle School, remains full for all weeks with many excursions and experiences taking place in the city and around the region. The city's free youth running club, Happy Feet Running Club, is in full swing with runners practicing weekly at Fairview Park. The season will culminate next weekend with the group participating in the annual Orange County Fair 5K event. The mobile recreation program served nearly 500 youth last month by bringing play, homework help, and mentorship to several neighborhoods throughout the city. The program continues to visit Shalimar Park, Tewinkle Park, Lions Park, and the Fillmore area neighborhood. The program also continues to be utilized for community events such as movies in the park and concerts in the park, and for some of the events that are now taking place on the Lions Park lawn. Animal care services staff, along with our animal shelter and animal adoption service provider, saw more than 150 animals enter and exit our city's animal care system during the past month, with 29 animals being adopted and 10 others being directly returned to their owners. Staff also participated in the Pack Walk event, which served as a fundraiser for the city's animal adoption center that is operated by Priceless Pet Rescue. More than $20,000 was raised through this event that was held at Tewinkle Park. The summer season of youth sports is seeing less play on city and district fields, as many of these facilities are on rest and renovation while school is out of session. There are still, however, a small handful of teams practicing at satellite locations throughout the city. With school scheduled to begin in early September, we'll begin to ramp up as the new month is upon us. The city's summer competitive adult sports league continues with 183 basketball players and nearly 100 full softball teams playing weekly at various city facilities, including the Downtown Recreation Center and Tewinkle Athletic Complex. The Senior Center remains busy with a robust schedule of classes, presentations, seminars, and social and wellness programs for its total membership of 2,430 members. Last month's large special event was the Independence Day Luau, which had nearly 100 participants. Participants enjoyed a festive environment that included a performance of Hawaiian dancing and live music, as well as catered meals that were served by members of our public service teams. The summer months, as you know, are a busy time for community events that are coordinated by the Parks and Community Services Department and many of our community partners. Staff has been hard at work providing programs and events on the new lawn at Lions Park, and these have recently included the second Costa Mesa Third Saturday Art Walk, Food Truck Friday events, Living It Up on the Lawn event, lawn games, literature programs, crafts in the park, disc golf, and much more. This Friday, the lawn will again be activated with our second summer movie in the park, which features a free showing of Ralph Breaks the Internet. This event is co-sponsored by Gatehouse Properties, with pre-show fun beginning at 5:45 p.m. and the movie beginning at dusk. For a full schedule of Lions Park lawn events, the public can visit the city's website and search for Lions Park Events lawn schedule. Staff also played an integral part in the city's very successful July 3rd Independence Day celebration that took place at the Orange County Fairgrounds. The Summer Concerts in the Park series has now seen 3 amazing showings, with thousands of participants enjoying the outdoor entertainment each Tuesday night in July. Our final concert in the park is scheduled for this coming Tuesday, July 30th, and will feature the wildly popular Tijuana Dogs. Pre-show activities begin at 5 p.m. and the music begins at 6 p.m. at Fairview Park. Today, as was mentioned, was the opening day of the Chargers Summer Training Camp. Thousands of fans visited Jack Hammett Sports Complex to cheer on the players and watch practice right in the middle of Costa Mesa. There are 13 training dates that are open to the public, in which 2 days include a joint practice with the Saints. The public is invited to visit chargers.com/camp for the schedule and full details. Finally, I'd like to let the commission know that Assistant City Manager Tammy Letourneau has been selected as the new city manager for the city of Laguna Niguel. Tammy has been instrumental in the success of not only the Parks and Community Services Department, but also of the entirety of the city for the last 8.5 years. I'd like to personally thank her for her leadership, dedication, and commitment to the city and to our staff. She will definitely be missed. But on the same token, I want to let the commission know that our new city manager, Lorianne Farrell Harrison, is now in her 4th week on the job, and she's jumped right in to the inner workings of city government. So with that, I conclude my report, and I'm happy to answer any questions that the commission might have.
Thank you, Director Martin. Any questions from the commission?
I have a couple comments. First, the numbers are always impressive, but just a couple of anecdotes. Today when I was at Smart Camp, I was sitting next to a woman who was sobbing. Her son is 13 years old. They're new to Costa Mesa, and this was their first time participating in Smart Camp. And she said, I never thought I'd see my son stand on stage and sing. And she stood up and she gave him, this standing ovation. So those kinds of things we don't see in the numbers, but they're really making a difference in the lives of our residents. The other thing I wanted to do is to give a shout out to staff at the senior center because this week we were welcomed Southern California Edison to our roundtable discussion where 20 members were in attendance because the seniors were expressing a concern for outages throughout the community. And so it was well received to have Councilmember Marr speak as well as Southern California Edison. And finally, as a note, at the Senior Center tomorrow, Assemblymember Kari Petrie-Norris will be discussing senior scams at the Senior Center. So lots going on in the community. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Are there any other questions or comments for staff or Director Martin?
Yeah, thank you, Director Martin, for your report and all your work. I did want to just ask a quick question about, this is not specific to your report, but it's something that we get every month. It's the little citation reports from the police department. And I just wanted to inquire if there was any more information that could be provided to us about the citations that were reportedly issued in the past month. For example, there is one section of municipal code that I'm very concerned about. It's section 4.3 related to bicycles and bicycle licensing. And so it says that there were 2 citations issued at Fairview Park. There was also a citation issued at Talbert Park, and that was this month. And I don't have the June report, but I do have one from May, and it has a couple of those citations as well. So I was just wondering if you could speak to that, or if there's more information that could be provided to the commission about the individual citations.
Commissioner Rutherford, generally the personal information that comes along with some of those citations is not shared because it's confidential through the police department. I can tell you that next month we are looking for park rangers to be giving a presentation to the commission on the state of our parks and what their role is and how they follow through with enforcement and education in our parks. So that could be a great question for them. I certainly will follow up with them beforehand in regards to your question specific to your concern.
Okay, cool. And then just in addition to that policy about the bicycles, I also noticed that there were some picnic permit checks, which I assume is related to the group policy in parks. So in addition to the bike policy, any more information about those citations or the checks that happened or the process would be really valuable. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Rutherford. Are there any other comments or questions?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I wanted to thank everyone in our Parks and Rec department for activating the Lions Park event lawn so well this month. There's been a huge turnaround in that area. And I think a large part of that is due to the number of events that you guys are having down there. So thank you for your creativity of finding ways for community members to come back out and enjoy that space that is ultimately theirs. So thank you for doing that, and just encourage you to keep coming up with these creative types of activities. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner DeSico. I'll ask one last call, and seeing no comments, I'd like to adjourn the meeting. This meeting will be adjourned at 7:35 p.m. Thank you all from the public for being here, and thank you for the presenters, and thank you to the staff. Have a great night.
Thank you. Good job.